You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, it's Monday the 24th of November 2025 and you're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. And what have I done since I last spoke to you? Well, I went for a swim this morning. I slept properly last night, overnight, so that was good. I think when I last spoke to you, I had finished the zero draft of chapter 20. And what I basically did today was I went for a swim. And it's really weird because I like doing lengths of the pool, and my Apple Watch, you have to tell it the length of the pool and then it calculates how far you've gone and all that kind of stuff. Only, and this is the really annoying bit, nobody in the hotel knew the length of the pool. One was like, I think it's nearly 25 metres, but not quite. And I'm like, okay. So what I decided to do instead was to use the outdoor swimming facility, because I thought it'll just use GPS to work out how far I went, won't it? Yes. No, it didn't, because again, where I am, it's a swimming pool which is on like a lower floor, but it's surrounded by skyscrapers. So in fact, the watch couldn't get a signal. So after I'd done, I think 3 or 4 lengths, it told me I'd swum 3 whole meters. Well, obviously it was a lot more than that. So that was a bit annoying. So I decided in the end just to let it work out how many calories I was burning. So I just swam for about 40 minutes until I'd burnt 1,000 calories. And that's 1,000 extra calories on top of my basal metabolic rate. Anyway, so I did that. And then I wanted the shorts to dry. So I sat by the pool and read for a bit. I'm reading... Oh, this is terrible. I can't pronounce or remember the author's name, but I'm reading the 5th book in the Japanese Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. I will make an effort to talk about it properly in the future. But it's this really lovely little set of books. They're basically a set of linked short stories set in a cafe where you can travel in time. But there are some bizarre rules. So you can't leave the cafe. You just go back to the past in the cafe, but it enables you to meet somebody or say goodbye to someone. And they tend to be these kind of nice little vignette stories. One of them was about a woman who wanted to meet her husband before he got Alzheimer's. There was one where somebody wanted to meet their mother because she died when she was very young, and all that kind of stuff. So they're all personal little stories framed within this cafe, and it's got some weird bits and pieces in it, like you can only travel in time from a particular seat. You are poured coffee, and basically a cup of coffee, and then you have until that coffee gets cold to drink it. And if you don't, you end up as a ghost stuck forever in out of time. There are some other little rules. So you can't change anything in the past, so you won't like go and stop something from happening. It's just, so they're just short little stories, opportunities for things to happen, and they're quite good. And is it I can't remember the author's name and I feel really bad. I'm going to actually quickly look on, if I can get my phone to work, I'm going to have a quick look on Storygraph because I'm currently reading it. And his name is Toshikazu Kawaguchi. And I'm reading book 5 now because book 6 comes out next year. And there's 4 little stories in each. The books are only a couple of 100 pages long each. So effectively it's a collection of linked short stories. But they're usually good fun, although I have to say, it does feel like it's the law of diminishing returns now. Anyway, then I went up to my room and I decided if I did nothing else, I would try and get the screen editing of chapter 20 done. And I read it through several times and I was a little bit tired, so I tried to read it out loud a few times and didn't quite manage. And but I got a lot of editing on it done. So I also went for breakfast and sort of sat there reading it through when I had breakfast. And I went through it a few times. It was one that needed a bit of work. So sometimes they require almost no work. They pretty much ready to go for a sign off straight away. This one wasn't. It needed a bit of work. Just tidying up of phrases. I took about I think about 400 words out that just weren't necessary, so over detail and stuff like that. And then after breakfast, I finally went back up to my room and read it all out loud, made a few final changes, and then went down to the business centre at the hotel and printed it. So I have got a paper copy. And if I'm honest, if I was a little bit less tired, I probably would have tried to do the paper sign off before the podcast tonight. But I say tonight because actually I'm in Australia and they're 11 hours ahead. So though I'm recording this at what appears to be 9:12 in the evening on Monday the 24th, that's UK time, in Sydney where I am, it's actually 8:12 in the morning on the next bloody day. So, yes. And although we don't get very long here, you'll probably get tomorrow's podcast from here as well. And I'm hoping, if I get a bit of sleep and do a couple of other bits and pieces, I'm hoping to find the time at some point today or tomorrow before UK midnight, try and get chapter 20 signed off. And it's interesting because a character I wasn't expecting to use. There was a character that I used that I sort of had in my head, if there's another way I can use this character again, I should. But I didn't think of somehow. And then I was looking for a character to turn up unexpectedly and do something interesting, and I suddenly thought, yep, you'll do. So yeah, anyway, that's me for today. Chapter 20 will hopefully be signed off by the time I talk to you tomorrow. Other than that, have a good evening if you're listening today. Have a good morning if you're listening tomorrow. And if you're listening down the line, have a good down the line, mate. That's me for today. I'll talk to you at some point tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.